Story 1. What if a terrible tragedy that shook an entire community was wiped from history, leaving no trace behind? This is the haunting question that surrounds the so-called 2006 volleyball incident. They say it happened on a cool September evening during a high school volleyball game somewhere in South Dakota or Nebraska. The gym was packed with students, parents, and coaches, all cheering for their teams. But then, chaos erupted. A gunman opened fire, leaving 14 people dead and many more injured. You might think something so horrific would be all over the news. But strangely, there's nothing. No reports, no articles, no evidence that it ever happened. It's as if the event was erased, like it never existed. The only traces are whispers on obscure forums and a single grainy photo, a blood-streaked gym floor, dated September 27, 2006. The image is marked with the cryptic words, CBI, not for release. Was this a real tragedy buried by powerful forces, or just an elaborate hoax designed to fool the internet? As we dig deeper, the line between reality and conspiracy blurs, leaving us with a chilling mystery that may never be solved. The story of the 2006 volleyball incident feels like a haunting echo from a forgotten past. Those who claim to remember it speak of the chaos during what should have been an ordinary high school volleyball game. Parents screamed, players ran for cover, and the sound of gunfire echoed through the gymnasium. They recall hearing it on the radio or seeing brief news coverage, reports of 14 dead, including students and parents. But then, nothing. The story disappeared as quickly as it surfaced. Search online for proof, and you'll find yourself in a digital void. There are no official records, no archived news reports, and no obituaries for the victims. All that remains are a handful of posts on obscure forums and conspiracy sites. Even these accounts are scattered and inconsistent. Some describe the incident in vivid detail, while others question if it ever happened at all. The only tangible evidence is a single, grainy photograph. It shows a gym floor smeared with blood, discarded sneakers scattered in the chaos. The date, September 27, 2006, is stamped in the corner, along with the unsettling label, CBI, not for release. Who or what is CBI? And why would they keep this image hidden from the world? These fragments of a story feel like pieces of a puzzle that someone doesn't want us to solve. But if the event never happened, why do so many people claim to remember it so vividly? The deeper you dig into the 2006 volleyball incident, the stranger it becomes. Stories from those who claim to remember it are both chilling and contradictory. Some say they were in the area when it happened, recalling radio broadcasts that detailed a tragic mass shooting at a high school volleyball game. Others mention vague memories of news segments that quickly vanished, replaced by unrelated stories, as if the coverage was deliberately pulled. Theories about what happened are as varied as the accounts themselves. One suggests a government cover-up. According to this version, the incident wasn't a random shooting but a botched assassination attempt targeting someone in the crowd. Things spiraled out of control, leaving innocent students and parents caught in the crossfire. To avoid public outrage, the government allegedly silenced the media, erased the records, and paid the victims' families to stay quiet. It sounds like something out of a spy novel, yet the idea persists. Another theory blames collective false memory, a phenomenon known as the Mandela effect. Maybe people are confusing details of this alleged incident with a real event, like the 2006 shooting at Platte Canyon High School in Colorado. That tragedy, which occurred on the same date, involved a gunman taking hostages and killing one student. But there are glaring differences. No volleyball game, no mass casualties. What's more unsettling is a discovery made years later. A YouTuber exploring dark web forums stumbled across disturbing images allegedly tied to the incident. The photos depicted a blood-soaked gymnasium, abandoned shoes, and shattered bleachers. Were these images real evidence, or part of an elaborate hoax? The question lingers, adding another layer of mystery to a story that refuses to fade away. The mystery deepens with the discovery of the eerie photograph and the disturbing images that surfaced online years later. The photograph, with its grainy texture and blood-streaked gym floor, raises more questions than answers. It bears the haunting date of September 27, 2006, the same day people recall hearing about the alleged shooting. But the real enigma lies in the cryptic text stamped in the corner. CBI, not for release. What is CBI? A government agency, a secretive organization, or just an elaborate fabrication meant to mislead? Then there are the chilling images unearthed by a late-night forum user. These pictures show a destroyed gymnasium with traces of a violent struggle. Broken bleachers, streaks of red across the walls, and abandoned personal items paint a horrifying scene. Yet no one knows where these images came from or how they ended up online. Some argue they're part of a film set or a cruel prank, but others swear they are authentic evidence of the event. What's most unnerving is the silence surrounding these findings. Forums where these images were first shared have since been shut down. Any attempts to trace the origins of the pictures lead to dead ends. It's as if someone, or something, wants this story to disappear. Whether it's a cleverly crafted hoax or a hidden truth, the fragments of this tragedy only deepen the sense of unease. How can something so horrific be remembered by so many, yet leave behind so little? The answer seems just out of reach, shrouded in layers of mystery and fear. The 2006 volleyball incident is more than just a story. It's a haunting enigma that blurs the line between reality and conspiracy. Was it a real tragedy, buried under layers of secrecy and silence, or a cleverly constructed hoax designed to mislead and terrify? The scattered evidence, grainy photographs, eerie online posts, and conflicting memories offers no clear answers. Instead, it leaves us trapped in a maze of questions. Could an event this devastating really have been erased from history, leaving behind only whispers and shadows? Or are we witnessing the power of collective memory, twisted by time and suggestion, creating a story that never truly existed? The truth lies somewhere in the haze, obscured by fear, doubt, and the unknown. For now, all we can do is wonder. The pieces don't fit together, and the story remains unsolved. But one thing is certain. The chilling uncertainty of this mystery lingers, making us question what other forgotten tragedies might be lurking, hidden from view. What do you think? Could this have happened, or is it just another internet illusion? Share your thoughts below, if you dare. Story 2. What if a simple VHS tape held the secrets to one of the most disturbing crimes imaginable? That's the haunting reality behind Grave Robbing for Morons, a mysterious video that first surfaced decades ago. The tape is no ordinary horror story. It shows a young man nervously clutching a human skull, calmly explaining how to dig up graves and sell the remains on the black market. His voice trembles with a noticeable stutter, but his words are shockingly detailed, almost too real to be fake. The origins of the video remain a mystery. Some believe it's an authentic guide created by someone who actually robbed graves, while others argue it's an elaborate hoax crafted by a horror enthusiast. Either way, it's hard to deny the unsettling feeling that this tape leaves behind. It's not just what he says. It's the way he says it, as if he's speaking from experience, drawing you into a world that's dark, twisted, and horrifyingly believable. The tape begins with a dimly lit room, the shadows flickering as the man speaks. He appears young, possibly in his 20s, and his stutter gives an unsettling edge to his words. In his hands, he holds a human skull, casually turning it as if it's just another object. What follows is a step-by-step guide on how to rob graves, complete with gruesome details about handling decomposing bodies. He talks about which bones are the most valuable, how to avoid getting caught, and even how to deal with witnesses in a way that leaves no trace. What makes it even creepier is the strange mix of confidence and nervousness in his tone. He fumbles over his words, yet his instructions are disturbingly precise. The dim lighting, his jittery behavior, and the graphic descriptions make the video feel almost too real. It's not just the content that's unsettling, it's the way he seems to blur the line between someone reenacting a story and someone speaking from first-hand experience. The more you listen, the harder it becomes to dismiss the possibility that this young man was exactly what he claimed to be, a grave robber. As the tape gained notoriety, people started to question its origins. Who was this young man, and why would someone record such a disturbing video? The details he shares are gruesome but alarmingly specific, describing techniques for removing bones from partially decomposed bodies and the risks of being caught. It's hard to believe someone would go to such lengths just for a prank. But the mystery deepens when you notice the small details in the background. Horror memorabilia scattered across the room, including a VHS box of Evil Dead 2 and a horror magazine from the late 1980s. These clues place the tape's creation sometime around that period. Theories quickly emerged online. Some argued it was an elaborate joke created by a horror fan trying to unsettle viewers. Others believed it was a genuine guide made by a real grave robber, someone who wanted to pass on their dark knowledge while remaining anonymous. What makes the video even more unsettling is the man's almost confession near the end, when he starts to say his name but stops himself, as if realizing he's gone too far. "This was made by Anthony," he begins, before nervously cutting himself off. To this day, no one knows who the man in the tape is or why it was made. The mystery is further amplified by its connection to a real-life case of grave robbery in New York during the 1990s. The suspect in that case matched the man's description, but was never confirmed as the person in the video. Whether the tape is a chilling glimpse into reality or just a disturbingly convincing hoax, its unsettling nature continues to haunt those who dare to watch. The most unsettling part of Grave Robbing for Morons comes not from the video itself, but from the chilling details surrounding it. Toward the end of the tape, the man almost reveals his full name, but he catches himself, as if realizing he's said too much. This slip has fueled endless speculation online. Some believe he was genuinely afraid of being identified, which lends credibility to the idea that this tape wasn't just a prank. Others think it was a calculated move to deepen the mystery and leave viewers guessing. But the story doesn't end there. In the late 1990s, a man named Anthony Casamassima was arrested in New York for robbing graves. The parallels between him and the video's narrator were eerie. Casamassima's crimes involved stealing artifacts and human remains, and he even shared a physical resemblance to the man in the tape. Yet, when investigators looked closer, the timelines didn't quite match. Casamassima was in his 40s when he was caught, making it unlikely he was the young man in the video. Other theories point to a man named Craig Bradley, another known grave robber from the same period. He would have been in his 20s when the tape was made, aligning with the narrator's youthful appearance. But again, inconsistencies emerged. Bradley lacked the distinct stutter heard in the video, leading many to doubt the connection. These dead ends only deepen the mystery. If the narrator wasn't Casamassima or Bradley, then who was he? Was he an amateur criminal recording his first and only gruesome guide? Or was the entire thing a twisted performance designed to shock and disturb? No matter how many clues surface, they always seem to lead to more questions, leaving this bizarre tale shrouded in an impenetrable fog of uncertainty. Grave Robbing for Morons remains one of the most disturbing and mysterious tapes to ever surface. Decades after its creation, it still raises questions that no one can answer. Was it a genuine guide created by a real grave robber, someone who thought they could share their dark craft in secret? Or was it an elaborate hoax, meticulously crafted to terrify anyone who dared to watch? The clues surrounding the video, the narrator's nervous demeanor, his near confession of his name, and the eerie parallels to real-life grave robbery cases paint a picture of a mystery that refuses to be solved. The tape's crude, homemade quality only adds to its unsettling authenticity, making it almost impossible to dismiss as just another internet myth. And yet, for all its chilling details, the truth about grave robbing for morons might forever remain out of reach. Whether it's real or staged, one thing is certain. It has left an indelible mark on those who have seen it, a reminder of just how thin the line between fiction and reality can be. What do you think? Is this tape a horrifying glimpse into the mind of a real criminal, or just a twisted piece of performance art? Share your theories below, if you can stomach it. Story 3. Have you ever heard something so strange, so unexplainable, that it left you questioning reality? Across the world, people have reported hearing mysterious sounds coming from the sky. These aren't ordinary noises, they're metallic screeches, deep vibrating hums, and trumpet-like blasts that seem to echo from nowhere. Some say the sounds are deafening, shaking the ground beneath their feet. Others describe them as faint and haunting, like whispers carried on the wind. But no matter how they're heard, one thing is certain: they leave behind an overwhelming sense of unease. What makes these sounds even more terrifying is their mystery. Scientists, conspiracy theorists, and ordinary people alike have struggled to explain them. They seem to come without warning and vanish just as suddenly, leaving no trace behind. The strange part? These sounds have been reported for decades, from remote villages to bustling cities. So, what are they? A natural phenomenon, or something far more sinister? Reports of these strange sounds have surfaced from every corner of the globe. In a quiet Canadian town, residents were awakened in the dead of night by a metallic screech that seemed to pierce the air. Some thought it was a train or machinery, but there were no tracks nearby, and the factories were silent. In a small village in Eastern Europe, people described hearing a low, continuous hum that vibrated through their homes, making it impossible to sleep. Strangely, the hum seemed to come from all directions at once, leaving no clue to its origin. One of the most chilling accounts came from a man in the United States who recorded what sounded like loud trumpets echoing across the sky. The noise lasted for several minutes, sending waves of panic through his neighborhood. When he shared the recording online, it went viral, with thousands of people claiming they'd heard similar sounds. Despite these widespread accounts, no one has been able to pinpoint where these sounds come from, or why they happen. All that remains is the unease they leave behind. The strange sounds have sparked countless theories, ranging from scientific to supernatural. Some experts suggest the noises might be caused by natural phenomena, atmospheric pressure changes, shifting tectonic plates, or even the vibrations of ocean waves could explain the low-frequency hums. Others blame industrial activity, distant construction, underground drilling, or malfunctioning sirens. But these explanations don't account for everything. How do you explain the metallic screeches heard in areas with no railways or factories, or the trumpet-like sounds echoing across an empty sky? For those who reject scientific answers, the theories get darker. Some believe the sounds are signals from alien civilizations, sent to warn or threaten humanity. Others whisper about hidden underground cities, where advanced societies or secret governments are conducting experiments we aren't meant to know about. And then there are those who think these are the trumpets of the apocalypse, a sign that something far beyond human understanding is about to unfold. Whatever the explanation, one thing is clear: these sounds defy logic and continue to leave people around the world feeling both terrified and confused. One of the most unsettling cases of these mysterious sounds comes from a man in a small Midwest town. Late one night, he recorded a strange metallic screech that seemed to echo directly above his house. In his video, you can hear him whispering, describing how the sound felt like it was vibrating the very air around him. The recording was eerie, loud, unnatural, and deeply unsettling. He uploaded the video to an online forum, where it quickly gained attention. People analyzed it, claiming to hear faint, almost human-like whispers layered beneath the screeches. But then something strange happened. Just days after sharing his recording, the man vanished without a trace. His house was found abandoned, his belongings untouched, and his car still in the driveway. The video was removed from the forum, replaced with a cryptic message: "This content is unavailable." Those who had downloaded the clip reported hearing additional sounds on repeat listens, faint voices pleading for help or warning, "Don't listen." To this day, no one knows what happened to him. Was his disappearance connected to the sounds he recorded, or was it just a coincidence, a tragic twist of fate? Whatever the truth may be, this case has only deepened the fear and fascination surrounding the strange sounds in the sky. They are not just noises. They are a mystery that refuses to be explained. The strange sounds in the sky remain one of the most unsettling mysteries of our time. From metallic screeches and low-frequency hums to trumpet-like blasts that defy explanation, these noises have left countless people shaken and searching for answers. Scientific theories offer possibilities, but none that explain every case. The darker theories, alien signals, underground experiments, or even apocalyptic warnings, linger in the shadows, feeding into the fear and fascination. The man who vanished after recording the metallic screeches is just one example of how these sounds seem to leave more questions than answers. Are they natural phenomena that we simply don't understand yet? Or are they something beyond our comprehension, something we're not meant to uncover? For now, all we can do is listen and wonder. Have you ever heard these mysterious sounds? Could they be real, or is it all just an elaborate illusion? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that will keep you awake at night. Story 4. What would you do if you knew someone was planning your death but no one believed you? That's the chilling reality John Lang faced. John was an ordinary man living in Fresno, California, but his life took a dark turn when he began speaking out against what he believed was corruption in the Fresno Police Department. He posted his accusations online, claiming the police were targeting him. At first, it sounded like paranoia, but then strange things started happening. John said unmarked cars were driving by his house at odd hours. Strangers would linger near his property, watching him. Even a black van stopped in front of his home, filming for several minutes before speeding away. He believed the police were trying to intimidate him, or worse, planning to kill him. He left chilling warnings online saying, "If something happens to me, it was them." But no one listened until it was too late. John Lang's life became a nightmare of constant fear and suspicion. He wasn't just a man with theories. He had evidence, or so he claimed. He installed cameras around his home and began documenting everything. The footage was disturbing. Strangers walked by his house, pausing to look directly at his windows. Unmarked vehicles circled his block, some stopping briefly before moving on. One day, a black van pulled up in front of his home. A person inside pointed what John believed to be a thermal imaging device at his house. But the most unsettling footage was the one he couldn't explain. In it, a man walked his dog past John's home. The man stopped briefly, letting the dog sniff around before moving on. To anyone else, it might have seemed harmless, but John believed it was a calculated move. He claimed the man was conditioning his dog not to bark during a future break-in. These incidents weren't isolated. They were happening regularly, and each one seemed to push John deeper into a state of panic. He began to feel like he was living in a prison, one where every shadow hid a threat. John Lang's fear turned into desperation as the strange events around him escalated. He posted his concerns online, detailing everything he believed was happening. He claimed his phone was being tapped, his internet activity monitored, and his home watched around the clock. His warnings grew darker and more specific. He began writing things like, "If I'm found dead, it wasn't an accident. The Fresno police are planning to kill me." The videos he recorded became more alarming. In one, an unmarked police truck stopped in front of his house for several seconds before driving away. In another, strangers in plain clothes walked up to his door, lingered for a moment, then quickly left. The black van that had previously filmed his house returned, this time parked for even longer, with a device aimed at his home. John insisted it was a thermal imaging camera used to track him inside. People online were divided. Some believed John was genuinely being targeted. Others thought he was spiraling into paranoia, seeing threats where none existed. But John remained certain. He told anyone who would listen that his life was in danger. And then, in January 2016, the unthinkable happened. On the night of January 16, 2016, John Lang's worst fears became a horrifying reality. His neighbors reported seeing flames engulf his house, lighting up the dark Fresno sky. When firefighters arrived, they found his home completely barricaded from the inside. Breaking through the barricades, they discovered John's lifeless body in the midst of the fire. But the fire wasn't what killed him. John's body bore multiple stab wounds, a detail that sent shockwaves through the community. Initial reports hinted at foul play. Witnesses and early accounts suggested stab wounds on his back, a sign that he couldn't have inflicted them himself. Yet, when the coroner's report was released, the story changed. The wounds were officially deemed self-inflicted, and the case was closed. For those who had followed John's warnings, this explanation felt like a deliberate cover-up. How could a man stab himself multiple times, set his house on fire, and barricade the doors all on his own? To them, this was no suicide. It was the execution John had been warning about all along. But for others, the tragedy seemed to confirm a different narrative. They believed John had succumbed to his paranoia, his fear driving him to a heartbreaking and desperate act. The truth of that night remains buried in the ashes, leaving behind only questions and suspicions. John Lang's death became the center of a swirling storm of theories and accusations. To some, it was the ultimate proof of his claims. They pointed to the strange incidents captured on his cameras, the black van, the unmarked police vehicles, the strangers lingering near his home, and argued that his death was a calculated assassination. Why else would the initial reports mention stab wounds on his back, only for the coroner's report to contradict it? Why was the case closed so quickly, despite the suspicious circumstances? Others, however, saw a different story. They believed John's isolation and fear had consumed him. His warnings, while chilling, could have been the product of a deteriorating mental state. The strange behavior of people around his home might have been misinterpreted, and the black van could have been nothing more than coincidence. The idea that he might have barricaded himself inside, taken his own life, and started the fire was tragic, but to some, plausible. Yet, the inconsistencies remain. Why would someone who repeatedly warned about his death take his own life? Why were his cameras turned off the day before the incident, leaving no footage of what happened that night? These unanswered questions keep the debate alive, with each theory only deepening the mystery. Whether it was a desperate act or a deliberate cover-up, John Lang's death is a haunting reminder of how thin the line between paranoia and reality can be. John Lang's story is one of unanswered questions and unsettling possibilities. His warnings, his recordings, and the chilling events surrounding his death all point to a mystery that remains unsolved. Was he truly the target of a sinister plot, silenced for speaking out against corruption? Or was he a man consumed by fear, trapped in a reality shaped by paranoia? What makes his case so haunting is the way it defies closure. The videos he left behind, the inconsistencies in the reports, and the strange behavior of those around him leave room for doubt on all sides. Each piece of evidence feels like a fragment of a puzzle that refuses to come together. Even now, years later, his name sparks debate among those who seek the truth. John Lang's final warning echoes in the minds of those who hear his story. If something happens to me, it wasn't an accident. Whether those words were a prophecy or a plea, the truth about what really happened that night remains hidden in the shadows. What do you think? Was this a tragic case of paranoia or a carefully executed plan to silence him? Share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more stories that will leave you questioning the world around you. Story 5. What if an innocent-looking toy wasn't designed to bring joy, but fear? That's the question surrounding the evil stick, a pink princess wand sold at a local dollar store. On the surface, it seemed harmless, brightly colored, covered in cheerful packaging, and promising luster and wonderful music. Parents thought it was just another cheap toy to keep their kids entertained, but hidden within this toy was something no one expected, something horrifying. When a young girl peeled back the shiny foil covering the top, she didn't find a glittery design or a star. Instead, she uncovered a disturbing image that sent shivers down her mother's spine. The cheerful packaging had hidden a darkness no child should ever see. The toy looked like any other children's wand, pink plastic, sparkling details, and a shiny silver foil sticker on top that gave it a magical appearance. The packaging showed a smiling cartoon princess and the words promised beauty, music, and fun. It was the kind of toy any parent might grab without a second thought. Nicole Allen was one such parent. She bought the wand for her young daughter at a dollar store, thinking it was a harmless little treat. Her daughter loved it, pressing the button to hear the promised music. But instead of cheerful melodies, the wand emitted a chilling, echoing laugh that felt strangely out of place. Nicole didn't think much of it until her daughter accidentally peeled back the shiny foil at the top. Beneath it wasn't a cute design or a harmless decoration. Instead, it was a graphic and horrifying image of a woman slitting her wrist, her face frozen in a look of pain and despair. The cheerful toy was suddenly something dark and sinister, and Nicole realized this was no ordinary product. As Nicole stared at the horrifying image hidden beneath the foil, she couldn't believe her eyes. The graphic depiction of a woman slitting her wrist was so vivid it felt intentional. The blood, the anguished expression, the sheer detail, it was the last thing you'd expect to find in a child's toy. But that wasn't all. Every time her daughter pressed the button on the wand, it played a loud, eerie laugh that echoed unnaturally, filling the room with a sense of dread. Nicole couldn't understand how such a disturbing image had been placed in a product designed for children. Her daughter, confused and frightened, kept asking why the toy looked like that. It wasn't just a bad design or a mistake. It felt deliberate, like someone had placed it there to shock and disturb whoever discovered it. The once innocent toy now felt like something much darker, and Nicole couldn't shake the feeling that this was no accident. The evil stick wasn't just a toy, it was a mystery, one that left her with far more questions than answers. As word spread about Nicole's horrifying discovery, people began digging into the origins of the evil stick. The toy's packaging gave no clear answers. It was cheaply made, with no identifiable manufacturer or company listed. It had been imported from China, but beyond that, the trail went cold. This wasn't just an isolated incident either. Similar toys had appeared in other stores, each containing disturbing images hidden beneath the foil. Some showed haunting depictions of mutilation, others of eerie, unsettling figures. Theories about the toy's creation began circulating online. Some suggested it was a cruel prank by a factory worker, slipping horrifying images into a children's product as a sick joke. Others believed it was a deliberate attempt to frighten and shock, meant to create viral attention or controversy. But the darkest theories hinted at something far more sinister, an intentional act to disturb young minds, hidden behind the guise of a cheap, cheerful toy. The fact that the horrifying images were traced back to a French photographer known for creating graphic and disturbing artwork only deepened the mystery. How did these images end up in a toy for children? And who allowed this to happen? The answers, it seemed, were as unsettling as the toy itself. The story of the evil stick became even more unsettling as more parents came forward with similar discoveries. These toys weren't confined to a single store or region. Reports surfaced from different parts of the country, each describing the same pink wand with hidden, horrifying images beneath the foil. Even more disturbing, the images weren't identical. Some showed graphic depictions of violence, while others revealed eerie, almost otherworldly figures that seemed designed to provoke fear. But the creepiness didn't stop with the images. Parents began reporting strange behavior in their children after playing with the wand. Kids who had been carefree and happy started having nightmares. Some refused to sleep alone, while others described hearing strange sounds at night, like whispers or distant laughter. These accounts, combined with the toy's eerie laugh and grotesque imagery, made people question whether this was just a manufacturing mistake or something more intentional and malicious. Even with all this evidence, no one could figure out who was behind the evil stick. The lack of a manufacturer's name, the disturbing artwork, and the strange pattern of distribution only deepened the mystery. Was this a sick joke? Or was there something far darker at play? The more people looked into it, the more they realized that some questions might never have answers. The toy's cheerful exterior hid a darkness that no one could fully understand, leaving a lingering sense of unease for everyone who encountered it. The evil stick wasn't just a cheap toy. It was a chilling mystery wrapped in bright colors and cheerful packaging. What seemed like an innocent gift for children turned out to be something far more sinister, hiding grotesque images and eerie sounds beneath its playful exterior. The questions surrounding the toy, its origins, its purpose, and the reason for its disturbing content remain unanswered to this day. For Nicole Allen and other parents, the evil stick was more than a shocking discovery. It was a reminder that even the most harmless-looking things can carry a hidden darkness. Whether it was a cruel prank, an intentional act of malice, or something even stranger, the toy left an indelible mark on those who encountered it. Its unsettling combination of horror and innocence serves as a warning. Sometimes the things meant to entertain us can become the stuff of nightmares. What do you think? Was the evil stick just a twisted mistake, or was there something deeper behind its creation? Share your theories in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that will leave you questioning what's hidden in plain sight.